watching Rock Titan TV, featuring guitar virtuoso and lead guitarist of UFO, Vinnie Moore.
Hey everybody, I'm Scotty J. You are watching Rock Titan Music Television, and I've got an incredible guest with us right now. And actually, he's the very first person to ever be right here in Rock Titan Studios. Vinnie Moore.
Always great to be a first, man.
Oh
Thanks
my
for
God.
having me.
Right.
Great to be here talking to you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's an absolute honor. And it's so funny how we actually met. You know, and I was totally out of it. I had just woken up that morning. I mean, I practically rolled out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have my coffee. I roll into
That's
the
never a
post
good
office. Yeah, right? I roll into the post office down in Hocus, and there you are wearing a baseball hat.
Right.
You know, and the people that work there, they know that I'm into music and stuff like that, and I have my thing going on, and they're like, oh, well, you know, if you're into music, you gotta know that guy standing.
It was Leroy Brown.
Leroy
the guy who
Brown.
works there, his name is Leroy Brown.
Leroy Brown.
Back in the day, I don't know if you remember this, Barbara Walters worked there too at the same time as Leroy Brown.
No
They'd
way.
both be there at the front of the post office. I couldn't believe it.
That's hilarious. That
So,
is
yeah,
funny.
Barbara moved on a long time ago, but Leroy is still there. And
Yeah.
apparently he sings. He always talks to me about bands and singing when I come in. And yeah, he's just basically a rock fan. And
We had a
he
UFO album
introduced
right
us.
there, and he introduced us. So, thank you, Leroy Brown.
Bad Leroy Brown.
You got it. So, here we are, and you've got a lot going on right now. You know, we were just talking a little while ago. You're finishing up your new solo record.
Right.
And you're going to be going out on tour here as well with Gus G and Richie Kotzen.
Yeah, 3 weeks in U.S. with Gus G and Richie Kotzen. Then I have October off. And then over to Europe for another solo tour for about 3 weeks.
Wow.
So I keep thinking there's going to be like a period where I have some time to just kind of chill and relax, but it never comes. And honestly, I like to stay busy. When I'm sitting around with nothing to do, I go stir crazy. I'm that kind of guy that always has to have a goal, an objective, and be doing something, or it kind of drives me crazy.
Man, now I almost thought you'd be coming over here with one of your guitars, you know? Like, I just figured it's got to be like an appendage to you. You can't go anywhere without it, you know?
Yeah, it's a little bit like that at times, but every once in a while I try to get away from it, but I'm usually playing a lot of the day.
Yeah. Now, I was thinking, you know, about how I wanted to introduce you to the public. Now, obviously, that already happened. But it's funny because when I was thinking of you, I was thinking, you are literally the quintessential contradiction for the cliche saying, those that can do and those that can't teach.
Right.
Well, that is not the case with you, obviously, because you are one of the greatest guitarists on the planet Earth today, in my humble opinion.
Thank you very much.
My humble opinion, and I'm not just blowing smoke. I mean, wow. I mean, the things that you do with the guitar is just incredible. But you love to teach. You love to give back what you've learned and all the wealth of knowledge that you've accumulated over the years as a guitarist, as a virtuoso.
Right. It started out back in like 87, actually. I was with Ibanez Guitars. I had my first record come out. It was called Mind's Eye. And they wanted to put me out on the road going to music stores doing guitar clinics for them.
Well,
playing to backing tracks and just basically having a discussion with the audience. And I thought, oh man, that's kind of weird. Do I really want to be doing that kind of thing? And, you know, I just kind of started doing it and found that I really liked talking to people and teaching, you know, answering questions. So it kind of started initially basically from that.
okay. So
I've never been like a one-on-one instructor kind of guy. I think that would drive me nuts. But in front of a group, I'm more comfortable and, you know.
I don't even know how you'd have the time.
I haven't done them in quite a while now. It's something that I'll probably get back into. But, you know, I've been so busy recording and touring. You know, I used to do them on the road, like on the day of a show. I'd go out and do a clinic earlier in the day. And that just got a little too crazy, you know, a little too hectic.
No. As far as the tour that you have coming up with Rich and with Gus, how long has that been in the works?
I'd say for about 6 months, maybe.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we've known it's.
Now how did that all come together? Like the three of you specifically? Because I mean, of all the guitarists that you could probably handpick and play with, you know, and You're going out with them.
Gus and I did a tour last year in December.
Okay.
I had met him in Greece years ago. And he is from Thessaloniki, and he came up and jammed with me at a show, and like it was just great playing with him, a good vibe, and we talked about doing something together in the future, and like 5 years went by. He had gotten the gig with Ozzy, and finally last year, he heard I was touring, called me, said he was available and he'd like to do it, so that's kind of how that happened. And on this one, we were going to go out and do more shows, and my booking agency, TKO, also books Richie, so they kind of, was their idea. And that's often how it happens, it's not always like the band saying, hey, I'd like to tour with this person or that person. A lot of times it's the business people who suggest ideas, and I thought it was a great idea. Richie is a great guitar player, and he's kind of from this area too.
Reading, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. But he's been in LA for years,
right.
And I know him as an acquaintance. I've seen him here and there over the years, and it's going to be a lot of fun to go out and be a nice little run. Him and Gus.
Yeah. Now, where's the place where everyone can go check out those tour dates? Are they set in stone at this point?
Right. The first 4 are just Gus and I in Texas. Richie couldn't do those, and then we meet up with Richie in Arizona and kind of work our way out to the West Coast, up as far as Seattle, Portland, and then down through California.
Oh, fun.
And there's 14 shows total.
Nice.
Going to be fun.
So, now, with that tour, are you going to have the time to finish this solo record that you've been working on?
I'm on a race now to finish it before I leave, and actually I have plenty of time to finish my parts. I'm not going to get it mixed before then. So,
all right.
Unfortunately, I wanted to have it out and, right now for this tour to sell on the tour, but it just didn't happen. It took a little longer than I anticipated, which is kind of usually typical for me because I'm kind of perfectionist.
Right.
And when I do something, I don't do it quickly just to get it done. I experiment with different tones and different parts, and I'm still writing in a way when I'm recording and being creative. So I don't like to rush things. I really like to take my time.
Right on.
Do
we have a name? Do we have a name for this album?
I don't have a name.
No?
I'm really horrible on this one as far as coming up with song titles and the album title. It's kind of driving me nuts.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I could sit down for an hour and just not... I can come up with a completely new song, but I can't come up with a stupid title.
How many solo albums do you have now? I'm trying to think.
I believe it's like maybe 7 or 8, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it must be.
Very cool. Now, you've been playing since you were a young kid. I mean, like, and from what I understand, it was like an instantaneous love affair.
Yeah, I started when I was 13. I got a guitar for Christmas, and my mom always makes fun of me because the first week I did nothing but play with the box the guitar came in. And I wrote like Peter Frampton, Kiss, all over the box, and I poked holes in the box, and I didn't touch the guitar. And at that time she was married to a guy, and I think he was like, oh, man, that was a waste of money. He's not even playing this thing. And then somehow it kind of just got into my psyche, caught on, and I just became addicted after a while.
That's wild. And I mean, coming out of this area of Delaware, which, where we are right now in southern Chester County, PA, I'm right on the border, so it's like I probably spend more time in Delaware than I do in PA, on a weekly basis. But it's wild that, you've become such a success story, coming out of this area, because, I'm trying to think, other than George Thorogood, I don't know that many folks, from this immediate area, at least,
I know what you mean.
That have gone on to do the things that you've done. It's pretty wild. I guess transitioning forward, your audience, your fan base,
all 5 of you.
Yeah, all 5 of you, stop it. They know you as the longest tenured guitarist for UFO at this point, and
right.
UFO being one of the most legendary rock bands out of Great Britain, like of all time. With the recent news, I guess, within the last few months, Mr. Mogg announced that he's going to retire.
Sayonara. Yep.
How do you feel about that?
I saw it coming for a long time. We've all seen it coming. I thought maybe 2015 would be the end, and then I thought 2016 would be the end, and then 17 would be the end, And it turns out that 2016 and 17 were like two of our busiest years, actually.
I actually caught up with you on tour in 2017 when we were Saxon.
Right, in Philly.
Yeah.
Was it the Truck?
Yeah. That was the TLA.
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 Yeah,
but then you guys were also up at Penn's Peak, not too much
Right,
before
yeah,
that.
that was a great gig. We're supposed to do that again next year, actually.
Okay.
On the big farewell tour.
All right.
And, yeah, you know, the guys are getting older, and I totally understand. I mean, you can't do it forever. It's not an easy life being on the road. It can be grueling at times,
Sure.
all the travel. And when you're like 70 years old, I mean, geez, you know. It's just amazing that his voice has held up like it has.
Right.
You know, his voice has gotten better over time. This guy does no vocal warm-ups backstage,
Really?
any of that kind of stuff.
Wow.
All he does is drink beer and then go on stage. And we've never had... we had one problem with his voice at a show. We were on a cruise somewhere.
Okay.
And he just had lost his voice. But, I mean, we've done thousands of shows, and that's the only time. It's just
good
it's just
genetics.
amazing.
Yeah, good genetics.
But, you know, everything has to come to an end, and, you know, you could see it happening when gigs were being turned down, like, you know, cruises or to play at a festival here in Japan, and he no longer wanted to do things like that. It's like, okay, you know, he's going to be more choosy and pick things that are easier to do, like, you know, things in the UK and Europe. Less travel, you know, we just saw it coming, of course, and knew it was on the horizon.
All right.
And totally understand, you know.
Yeah. Now, going back, you know, kind of reflecting on everything, how did the UFO gig even become an opportunity for you?
Me. We had a mutual friend named Jerry Carrillo. He had tour managed for me and been my guitar tech.
Okay.
And he also had done sound for UFO. And actually in 1999, I did a tour in America. I opened for Michael Schenker. And we did like 32 shows together.
Wow.
And his manager, Peter Knorn, from Germany, was on the road with us for at least half the tour. Peter became UFO's manager, and he's been our manager since I've been in the band. So it kind of came about through Jerry and Peter. They were looking for a guitar player, and as I was told, they initially wanted to find somebody that lived in England, because they lived in England.
Right.
And they just weren't finding anybody, so then they expanded their search and started to think about Europe. And they couldn't really find anyone there. And from what I understand, they were talking to John Norum, maybe. But at that time, he was just getting back together with Europe. Thankfully for me. Thanks, John. He's a good friend of mine, awesome player.
Oh, very
awesome
cool.
guy.
Very cool.
But thank you, John. Anyway, so they were searching, and I think Jerry Carrillo was talking to Peter Knorn and said, what about Vinnie? You know, he's available, and I think he would fit in with UFO quite nicely. So I got a call about it. I was asked to send some of my songs to Phil. So I kind of put together a compilation of like, I think it was 11 different tunes. I don't know why I remember 11, but it was 11. And I sent it to him. I didn't even really think I'd hear back, to be honest.
Really?
And I got a call like maybe 10 days later or 2 weeks later from a manager saying they want you to do it. Congratulations, Jeff.
You didn't even meet him in person. It was one.
No. And
Wow.
here's the deal. We never did a gig or rehearsed. We started talking on the phone about doing this record for SPV Records, and they were going to do it in Hanover, Germany, in this small town called Celle in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
And so we started discussing song ideas on the phone, and I was writing and sending him ideas.
Oh, wow.
And we just got together. Jason Bonham joined the band at the same time.
Wow.
So Jason and I were the new guys.
All right.
We met up in Germany, rehearsed at the studio, got all our song ideas together, cut a record, and then started touring like a few months after that. So,
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, he wasn't looking for just a guitar player. He was looking for a guy who was a songwriter, because that's what any guitar player they've ever had in the past, whether it be Schenker or Paul Chapman, were always like contributors as far as songwriting, and that's what he really wanted, not just a guitar player. And it was just a great opportunity for me, because they offered me to be a full member of the band and write, which is what I wanted to do. I think had it been more of a sideman thing where they just wanted a guy to come in, you know, play on the record and not write, and then just tour like a sideman. I don't think that would have really piqued my interest at the time, but the fact that it was, be it, you know, a member of the band,
right,
definitely was like, wow, this is cool.
That's awesome. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and I know there's a lot of people out there that would smack me for not being able to recite this off the top of my head. I've never been a stats guy, though, but 22 studio albums by UFO. That's kind of sticking in my head for some reason. Does that sound right?
Man, I don't know. Albums? I would guess it's more. It's funny. Leroy Brown now.
I'm talking about just like full LPs, like not anything else like live or any of those other mixes. But how many have you been on?
Oh God, I don't even know that, to be honest with you. Maybe like
over the last 15 years,
7 or 8.
Yeah,
we did the live DVD.
Right.
You Are Here, Monkey Puzzle. I don't know. I think 7 or 8.
You know, I'm curious about the most recent one that UFO put out. There's a lot of covers.
Right.
Well,
it's
all
cover
covers.
record.
Yeah. Whose idea was that?
Basically, it was a record company's idea. What were they? Cleopatra Records from California.
Okay.
They do this sort of thing, like cover records with bands, and they first approached us about doing a cover record of old UFO songs. And Phil just didn't want to have any parts of that. Like, I've already done it, why do I want to do it again?
Right.
Which I can totally understand. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of said no, or Phil said no. He was the guy making that decision. And they kind of came back and said, okay, well, what about a cover record in general? And I still think he was reluctant to do it. You know, he wasn't totally sold on it. And nobody in the band was really that sold on it or excited about doing it. And the idea somehow kept coming back. They kept approaching us. And at some point, you know, I guess we were on the tour bus or something, and we all collectively somehow started to think about it like, hey, you know, maybe it is a cool idea. Okay. Rush did it, and, you know, what songs would we do? So we started talking about songs.
Okay.
Like, yeah, we could do this, we could do that, and somehow we turned the corner and wanted to do it. And from that point of wanting to do it to actually getting to the point where we did it seemed like forever.
Oh, yeah.
Because Phil's a real non-committal kind of guy, you know. It's hard to get him to commit to anything. We'd be on the bus throwing out song ideas, and he'd be like, yeah, that would be a good one. And then the next morning, I don't know, you know, he would like nix every idea. It was like starting from scratch again. So it was kind of like tedious and torturous to come up with a set list for that record. We even got to the studio with only like 6 or 7 things confirmed.
Oh, wow.
And just like scrambled to find things at the end, because he just has some trouble choosing what he wanted to do.
Well, maybe he'll decide not to retire.
Exactly. He is a little bit back and forth, so...
You know, maybe after this 2019 farewell tour, you know, something gets sparked inside him and says, I'm not ready to walk away yet.
Well, from the way it's been told to me, it's like he doesn't want to call it a farewell tour. He just
right.
Last orders, I think, was his official term. He basically wants to slow down and, you know...
Yeah, that's cool.
When we go out next March in 2019, that's basically the beginning of the end.
Right.
Nobody knows how long it's going to take to wind down. Maybe there'll be some shows in 2020. I don't know.
It could be a 5-year-long tour.
I doubt it'll be that long, but... You know, maybe into 2020, you just never know. But the only thing concrete I've heard about at the moment is we're doing England next March, and then in the fall, probably America.
Yeah.
So that's all I know about it this
point.
point.
Well, I certainly hope you guys do America, because I gotta be there.
Definitely. You know?
I mean, it was great seeing you guys with Saxon. That was very cool.
Oh, thanks so much. That was a lot of fun. We did 2 tours with those guys.
Yeah.
And, great band, great bunch of guys. I even jammed with them in Chicago one night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's very
Denim and leather.
Denim and leather, yes.
Yeah, very cool, man.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Now, I mean, on a personal note, because like we were talking about, you've been with UFO for so long. You've got a very successful solo career. Could you ever, at this stage of your career, see yourself playing guitar for any other bands?
Yeah, I mean... I write a lot, instrumental and vocal stuff, and I kind of have a backlog of ideas, which frustrates me because I want to get busy and get this stuff finished and get it out there. I once heard Pete Townsend say that every idea he's ever had, he's used in a song and put out on a record. And I hate him for that because I have a gazillion ideas lying around everywhere on cassette tapes, on my computer, and it just drives me crazy that most of that will never come into fruition.
No, you don't know.
But I have full songs totally demoed with even me singing guide vocals.
Oh, wow.
And I want to get either a solo band or a new band to do that.
Okay.
After this new instrumental record, which I'm doing right now, that's going to be next on the agenda.
Okay.
Just have to find the singer. Anybody out there?
Have you seen my carpool karaoke?
I haven't.
I might be auditioning for Vinnie Moore here, you never know. No, it's so funny because when I told my wife that I was doing that, she's like, oh, great. Now, as if this whole Rock Titan thing isn't enough of a midlife crisis for you, now someone's going to like your voice, and you think you're going to join a band and be a rock star. You're too old to start doing that. I'm like...
Never too old.
Relax. I'm like, relax. No one's going to want me to be their front man.
I'm going to be on a world tour for only 2 years. Don't worry, honey. I'll be back.
Yeah, but again, the kids are all growing up, they're getting ready to, they'll be on their own. What am I going to do then, I'll call it won't be a midlife crisis. It'll just be empty nest syndrome, you know? So
there you
it's
go.
like, hey,
do something to occupy your time.
It's never too late to realize a dream.
To learn something new, do something new. You have to stay active and busy.
Well,
That's what it's all about.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think the first time I ever hit the stage in front of like thousands of people, I'd probably lose my mind. And I think that's a really good question for you. Even at this point of your life, and all the tours and the huge audiences that you've had, do you ever get nervous?
I get more nervous in like a close-up situation, like the guitar clinics we were talking about earlier, where there's like a bunch of guitar players like 2 feet away from me looking at my fingers. I've gotten accustomed to that and used to it, but I find the proximity effect to be more nerve-wracking to me. Yeah. Whereas if you play for a big crowd, first of all, there's such a huge space. They seem so far away,
right.
And that's like one mass of people. That's easier for me than having people right up on me.
Right.
And it's kind of weird. When I'm in a one-on-one or even a one-on-3 kind of situation, I tend to get nervous and freeze up. And I noticed that once when I was younger and I was out doing clinics, and I went on stage in front of like 200 people, and it was kind of easy for me to play and converse with people. But then after the show, like these 3 guys came backstage, and they kind of cornered me, and they were like right up on me answering questions, and that was 10 times more nerve-wracking. I got like really nervous,
Yeah.
It's like the proximity thing, kind of strange.
Yeah, no, that's wild.
But
Well, I think with your career with UFO, obviously you came to them in around 2003, right in that range, coming right on the heels of Mike Schenker's last, tour with them. He'd been on and off, obviously, but maybe other than yourself, the most identified guitarist of UFO. Did you have any particular feelings when you first joined UFO? Be like, oh man, like everyone knows, like this was Michael Schenker's gig. Did you have any reservations or apprehensions stepping into that role? Not that you were looking to fill his shoes or anything like that, but you're coming in as like the next guy.
Right.
At that point in time. Now you're the guy. You've been the guy.
I don't know if I'm the guy, but
but you know what I mean. Like back then, you're just coming in new to a fan base that's loved UFO for 30 years.
Right. Well, they accept me. There's always those kind of worries, but I didn't think too much about it. Okay. Because I grew up a fan of the band. I had some of their records, and I was totally into what they were doing. And so I felt like musically and stylistically, I would fit right in.
Right on.
And because they had several guitar players in the band, somebody once told me that they've had like 17 different guitarists.
There's been a lot of turnover.
If there was only like one guy, like Schenker or whatever, right. I think I would have been more apprehensive, but because a lot of people had been in the band.
Okay.
Just bring in another idiot, it doesn't matter where he's from, Delaware, Philadelphia, just bring him over to play some next thing.
Yeah, right?
But yeah.
Just a guy like Schenker, because he's with the Scorpions, and he's had a solo career, and Mike Schenker's, he's a pretty well-known name
Absolutely.
in the music world.
Very influential guitar players.
Yeah, yeah. Did he have an influence on you?
Yeah, definitely. I was a fan when I was a kid, and I remember learning a couple of his solos at guitar lessons.
Yeah.
My teacher showed me some of his stuff. So yeah, I was a big fan of the band, and I was just definitely a Schenker fan.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So yeah, I mean, it was like, wow, who'd ever thought that when I was like 16, 15 years old in my bedroom jamming with different records, Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow, UFO, that someday I would actually be in UFO. I never, ever would have dreamed that.
Right?
It's just like totally surreal. And then, they've been to my house. One time they were in my house, we're sitting around at the kitchen table drinking, and I'm like, wow.
Was there ever like any fanboy type moments?
Not really.
No?
But, a couple times I've reflected, and it's like, wow, I have their albums in the basement, and when I was a kid, if you told me that one day these guys will be in your house, like staying in your house, and, just drinking and hanging out at your table and you're barbecuing for them,
you're going to be writing songs
you're
with them.
You're freaking crazy. That'll never happen. And Jason Bonham, too, was there.
Right? Yeah. Oh, my God. That's amazing.
Yeah, Phil came over and stayed at the house once for like 10 days with his wife, and with this plan that we were going to work on songs for the new record and actually demo some stuff. And I was ready to work, but it turns out we ended up just drinking vodka for 10 days. Got nothing done.
Oh, my God. I guess we'll wrap this up.
Okay.
I've taken up enough of your time, Vinny. I know
worries,
you got a lot to do. You got a record to finish up.
I do got to get on that quickly and stop obsessing and get that thing done.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, everybody, again, I'm Scotty J. You're watching Rock Titan TV. We are here with the incredible Vinnie Moore.
Rock
UFO.
Titan. Check it out.
Yes. And make sure that you pay attention to tour dates that you have coming up. Where's the best place for everyone to go check out your tour dates?
We're starting in Texas on September 13th.
Okay. All right. Right around the corner.
San Antonio, I think Austin, Houston, and West Coast coming up soon.
All right. And then when you finally finish up this record, maybe I'll help you name it. I don't know.
Exactly. Please, take me out of my misery.
I'll have to listen to some of your tracks.
One thing before I go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that we didn't talk about. Well, we did, but it was kind of off the record. But yeah, we are diehard Philly fans. Yes.
I waited forever all my life, and it has happened.
The Super Bowl ring. We got the ring. We got the ring, man. Oh, my God. You know what? God, I wish I could have watched the Super Bowl with you. You could have seen me.
You know what? I stayed at home by myself. I needed to be alone.
Yeah.
There was a party that I didn't go to. I like to focus on the game, and I was really nervous, and I just needed to be by myself. And
did you totally lose your mind?
I lost my mind, and they were clearly winning, but it really came down to the last play at the end of the game.
Yeah, with Brady.
He's never out of it. That guy is so amazing.
My God.
And when it finally ended, I was like going into cardiac arrest. I just couldn't believe it.
I could barely crawl home.
Oh, man. I was screaming, we did it!
The celebrations that took place, for me here, it was ridiculous. I remember a shot of tequila, and then that was it.
There you go. That's a good way to celebrate.
Yeah, it was off the reservation after that.
Did it seem surreal, like it didn't actually happen for a month? I mean, I just could.
I still can't believe it.
It actually happened.
I literally, I am still in awe that it all went down the way it did, because we lost so many players. I mean,
When Wentz went down, it's okay, there's the season.
That wasn't the year. No one was going into last year saying, "Oh, the Eagles are favorites to go to the Super Bowl."
Out of all the teams, I didn't think it would be that team, and they did it.
They were a team of destiny.
And Foles came in, and he was just like Superman. It was unbelievable. The game against Minnesota. The playoff game, it just was unbelievable.
All right, so everybody, I'm just telling you right now, instead of doing some of the music-based webcasts that I was going to do, I'm now officially recruiting Vinny, when he's done touring and doing his record, and we can have our own sports talk show.
There we go, man.
You know what I mean?
EAGLES Eagles!
Oh, yeah, we'll just do our sports talk, whenever you have time in your non-available world.
I'm in, man. Yeah. I'm close by.
Awesome. Well, I definitely appreciate you swinging by.
Thanks so much for having me here, man.
Vinny? Thank you,
to
man.
soon.
Thank
All right,
you. Yeah.
thanks.
All right.
See you guys.
Rock Time
Thank you.
TV, we're out.